Hi, everybody. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 4 of the Hard Truth Inside the Football Industry podcast with me, Philip Ideson, Darren McAnthony, Chairman and Co-owner of Peterborough United. And here we are on a Friday again. Happy Friday.
Well, happy Friday, Philip. And I thought, we've both been pretty busy this week. Again, some fans calling us out last night. You don't do the podcast because you lost the Derby game and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, we were actually not going to do one until next week. And I messaged you and went, listen, I know let's find fucking half an hour.
Yeah.
I ain't having some fucker calling us out over a loss. We've always done podcasts, win, lose, or draw. So, and fucking no way is that going to stop us. So, let's get it done.
Yeah, so now
what they want.
So now we've started. Well, that's it. See you later, everybody. We're done. We put one in the feed.
Have a great weekend. Fuck off.
So let's go back. Nearly a week and a freak goal.
Well, let's talk about Bradford first.
All right.
Let's torture the Peterborough fans. He's got to wait for the Peterborough stuff.
Well, he told me that everyone turns off when we have the Bradford section anyway. So,
well, I know there's plenty of Bantams that listen, so it's a good share of our audience is Bantams. So let's go Bradford. So you went to Morecambe, battle of the old manager. What happened?
We didn't show up. It was bad. Really bad.
I saw your tweets.
Yeah, and usually I try and keep composed a little bit, and and with the hindsight of a few days, let's hope that we continue that we get things together and, you go again.
You watched it?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't try. I mean, it's hard to say that, right? Because players don't not try for the most part, but the body language.
No, that's your statement.
Yeah.
Your statement, they didn't try.
Let me say it a different way. There was really bad body language, that just seemed like everyone was getting frustrated that things weren't working, and almost a acceptance of the fact that it wasn't going to work. And so, let's just hope for the final whistle. And that was everywhere. That was on the pitch. That was in the dugout. The body language wasn't good. And so that's what was my biggest frustration was it looked like they didn't care, but that was, a body language thing. And so it's just, new tactics, new players, new formation, takes a while to click. The players talk about the fact that, they're not where they're thinking that the players are going to be, and the gaps aren't there, and they're running in different places. And, it's not just not coming together yet. Or is it more structurally fundamental than that? And I guess the next few weeks will tell us which way it is.
So you don't normally, lose your shit on Twitter unless you're tweeting about Donald Trump or the Republicans, but you don't really. You're not that individual.
A bit more reserved, yeah.
A bit more reserved, you are. But obviously, I did see on Saturday, your messages were popping up, and I was like, "Oh fuck me, somebody's not happy," So I guess my question is, if we'd filmed this on Saturday, an hour after that 3-0, the whistle had gone, and obviously Morecambe deserved to win. I'm sure Adams enjoyed himself.
Oh yeah, he was waving to all the City fans afterwards.
Right. Were you a Hughes out?
No, but I was thinking, one, toys were everywhere, so I wasn't that happy, and two, it's the honeymoon period is over, and it's been a long honeymoon for him.
Well, he's been there a fucking year. I wouldn't call that like a long honeymoon. He's got you in the playoffs. He's only been there a year, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, 15 months. Well, he joined like March, but yeah, one full season.
So he's there a year. You're in the playoffs.
But we talked about a lot last season. We got to the playoffs almost in spite of ourselves. It felt, a relatively easy division to, there wasn't the quality of the teams that's in the league this year than there was last year. And it felt like we were always ready to give somebody a hiding, and it never quite happened. So, and then we stumbled at the first hurdle, looking like we were just kind of outplayed. So,
what was fan reaction like, Bradford? I've seen your fan reaction.
Yeah, it was. Mine was the nicer side of the reaction. So there was a lot of Hughes out. There was a lot of, everyone, as everyone always looks for scapegoats. So then it's let's scapegoat Ryan, let's scapegoat the CEO, and then
when to the CEO.
I mean, that's a wonderful question.
This is a young guy who's a local who, trust me, he's not paid a fortune. Yeah, I know CEOs in League Two and whatever else. I don't understand that. He doesn't own the club. He goes to work like everyone else and does his best, trying circumstances.
And he's turned around the commercials for the club.
Yeah.
Like, we're making millions more in commercial revenue than when he started. So, then there's some post that he did an interview on a podcast, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks ago, where he said that there was no funding from the owner since he's been there. So someone had clipped that, posted that with Ryan's face, and then people started then at least looking, okay, so it's owner funding is the issue.
Oh, God.
And so, then the whole owner out.
And that's where you have to be. I'm not criticizing Ryan, but obviously he wants to be honest and transparent. So he's made an honest statement. But sometimes, things get taken out of context and can be thrown at you. And he's in it. It's a tough gig. I mean, Bradford don't want to lose him. The fans have got to be careful. He's a good guy. He's a good CEO. He cares. He's not a wrong-un. And I know lots of wrong-uns in football. That they have to, don't drive somebody like that away, because another club could easily go and offer him 15 grand for a year, and it would make a big difference in his life, and he'd be off.
He has plenty of other options if anything ever happened to us. So and he will be going to I think he'll be going to the top, in terms of his role. So if we don't go up, then there will be other opportunities that come along.
Yeah.
But
it always goes back to the owners, I guess.
It goes back to the owners, and then I have two hats. The hat of a supporter is like, the owner said he was going to invest in the club when he came in. We're atop of the League One, false promises, all those things. And then I go to the business person that says, why should he put money into the club? The club is being able to be managed on an even keel.
What people sometimes don't take into account is COVID could have damaged the owner off the pitch financially. Sometimes people don't give, everyone went through shit during COVID financially, coming out of it, still are. Cost of living, all the crap that's come out, people are struggling. That includes wealthy people who might not be as, by the way, I know nothing about the Bradford owners, so I don't want headlines saying, Bradford owners got no money or whatever. And I'm not defending them. I'm just saying sometimes owners don't have it. Now, if that's the case where you don't, you're kind of at the case where you need to sell, potentially you need to go, right, I got to move on. So I guess we don't know, but it's the same old, you lose a game, ex-manager, all of that, straight away, go after owner, and look, I get stick and whatever else. I guess my next question would be, was Mark Hughes conciliatory? Was he sorry? Was he aggressive? Or did he just irritate you more when he did his post-match? But sometimes I get sent in the car by our press guy. He sends me all the managers' interviews. And if we lose, I'm like, I want to fucking hear what the manager said. You know what I mean? And it's almost like I'm looking for inspiration. What's he said? What was his post-match interview like?
So I have to be honest and say I didn't listen to it because I just turned it off as soon as the game was done. I was that pissed with it.
You got to do research for the podcast as well.
I know I'm failing, aren't I? I mean, I do sit at home doing nothing all day, so I should have had time to do that, you'd have thought.
Shit. So you have no idea.
I didn't listen. I saw some stuff going by on Twitter, discussions through the week of interviews is given, a pre-match for next week, just about, it's just, they need some time to get that out of the system and kind of go again.
It's too early. It's too early. Like, and you can have some horror shows. You can lose 3-0. You can have an extra. It's too early.
Yeah.
Like, a story for the Bradford fans. I remember the year I got Gary Johnson in, and we had like a team, that should have won the fucking league. You had the Trinity, you had fucking McCann was in his prime in midfield. You had a team that had just come down from the champ. And I thought in my head, we're going to win the fucking league by 20 points. And unfortunately, Gary Johnson came in and we won our first game. We went to Bournemouth away, and I expected us to give Bournemouth a good scene to at the time. Forget about where Bournemouth are now.
Right.
We lost 5-1. I remember leaving in utter shock, going, what the fuck? The next month, it was like 2-0 down, win 4-2, 3-0 down, win 5. And it was like, what the fuck's going on here? We should be, by January, we were like 6th, 7th, 5th. We weren't quite winning the league by 28. That's when I fired Gary Johnson and brought Darren Ferguson back, But, again, I guess the moral is you lose 5-1. And I remember Johnson telling me that some of the players were food poisoned and whatever. I was like, okay. We just got battered. It can fucking happen. And when it's early in the season, sometimes your excuse is it's early in the season.
Yeah.
Man City have lost a couple of games early on. Why do they always end up winning the Premier League? But you see the second half of the season, they win 99% of their games. In the first 2 months, they're probably not as prolific.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you look at Stockport last season.
Yeah,
they went on
and came strong, right?
Yeah,
and again this season, Stockport haven't had a great start, but
no, neither have Wrexham. But I'm sure they'll come good.
Of course, they fucking will. So I guess it's frustration if you're losing 3-0 and you don't think the team tried, as you've accused them just there early on.
That's the headline.
I want the headlines about you, not me. And you're obviously thinking you're lacking. So what do Bradford need? There's 8 days to go with a deadline.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Maybe we'll do it. I'm out in the UAE next week, so we can, do a little show if we can. What are you thinking? What do you need? And don't tell me. Don't be like a Posh fan and say 11 new players. What do you need?
So last week we talked, and I said we needed a wing back.
Yes,
left wing back, and the day after we brought in a left wing back, so that was a positive. And he was probably the only one that came out of that game with any, any like congratulations. And then I think we still need. We talked about the gap that Romney leaving has caused in terms of somebody at the back who can play the ball, and I do think that we're missing that.
Oh, Romney, I tell you, what a player. Love that boy.
Yeah, I'm both happy and sad at the same time because, I obviously want him to do well. He seems like he's a good kid, but
he's great kid, great leader, great kid.
Yeah. So we still, rumors have it that there will be ins and outs, but I don't have any specifics on that. The next few days, maybe the last, the performances are kind of forcing the hand a little bit. Don't think there's much left in the kitty, so that's why it's somewhat reliant on outgoings, but I think they're still working.
It's a question. You lose, what have you got? You got a couple of tough games coming up, right?
We have Crew at home on tomorrow.
Crew in a couple
not quite sure who we've got after that.
Right. Did you say Wrexham the other day?
Wrexham in the cup, yeah.
Right. So let's say you have a couple of similar Morecambe type results. Is the mood shifting? Is it Hughes out?
Well, amongst the most vocal, it is. I don't think we would sack Mark. I think that there may become a point in time where he says, this isn't worth it. Should this continue? Should this form continue?
If attention turns to the owner and all those headlines start coming out about no money going in and everyone's angry, because the owner's been very quiet the last year because nobody's really been having a go. You've been doing okay. So I guess it'll be how will the owner react if suddenly all eyes are back on him, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, my opinion is that he just cares about the valuation of the club. So what's going to increase or preserve the valuation of the club? At the moment, it's interesting because, does the club have more valuation because of Mark Hughes being involved in it or not?
No.
And from a commercial perspective. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not. Look, he's a legend in the career he's had and whatever, but I don't know. I'm not sure. If he was maybe 40, he could be right, but not now, I don't think. Peter Taylor was an England manager and he got sacked by a fucking non-league club 12 leagues below. So
we sacked him. He was one of the managers on our steady decline through the leagues as well.
Backs up my point. So I guess the thing with Bradford fans is they're passionate a lot, and there's a fucking lot of them. So when they get unhappy, I guess it's Crew's at home tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's see the response. When your team loses as badly as that, there has to be a response.
Yeah.
Because if it's not a response, that's where you tend to worry. So you need to see if he gets a response tomorrow. So let's hold off till then and see what the response is like.
It could be a complete overreaction, which, most times it is, but there's the expectation of how you start the season, and it's been a slow start.
Yeah, what have you got? A win, a loss, a draw? What is it?
Yeah, we got a win against Colchester, defeat to Morecambe and Crawley, and I'm sure, draw at Stockport.
I guess if it's Wrexham, Notts County beating you, it's also the teams you're losing to, and you're thinking, kind of thing. Well, look, big 8 days coming up, so let's hope.
We shall see.
We shall see. We need a Posh Bantams win double again this weekend, so then we'll be filming podcasts every fucking Friday.
I know, right? It's funny, we talk about superstition and trying to push superstition out of the door.
Yeah, I got you on that last night. I texted you and I said, listen, by the way, Phil, last time we did a Friday was 2 weeks ago. We both won. And you fucking straight away, you're free at 5 o'clock.
I know, we need it. And so then Henry was happy to hear that too, because apparently Bolton won last time we did it on a Friday.
Oh, there you go.
He's gearing for a Bolton win after they got pasted by Wigan last week.
Yeah, that was it. That was fucking Barry. As I sat down at Northampton, he was like, fucking Dinger 3-0 up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to Bolton. I was like, fucking behave. I said, I Bolton down to 10 men. I couldn't believe it. So good old League One. So let's talk Posh.
Yeah, so where I was going to start before your freak 90th minute goal.
Yeah, I know all the Cobblers fans are like, didn't like that comment, whatever, and, disrespect, but no word of a lie. We played at about 6 out of 10, I reckon, and we still should have won 3-4-0 comfortably. I don't want to sound arrogant. We did. I mean, I left there laughing, actually, smiling. I don't want the headlines to be that. Even their stewards, as I'm walking by, were like, fucking, don't know what's just happened.
Just one of those games.
Yeah, we had, over 2 games, Barnsley in that game, we had 38 shots on goal. The amount of, we have all the stats. We were going through them yesterday with a massive recruitment meeting yesterday. There was everyone there. It was like 12 of us. And the statistics were staggering. I was like, listen, keep doing what we're doing. Don't worry about it. It was one of them days. We could have been 3-0 up in 15 minutes. And if we had, it would have been a mauling.
Yeah.
And, Northampton aren't mugs. They dug in. I'm not buying all the crap in the paper from the manager told the player to lob our goalkeeper. He fucking hooked the ball. He didn't know his arse from his elbow when he hooked that ball. No clue. If he's claiming that, I'll pay for a lie detector test and donate $1,000 to charity.
I'm not even sure if it went in.
It went in. It went in. Yeah, for me, the linesman had no idea it went in, but it went in. Okay. And I don't blame our goalie, because if you watch, I love what our goalie tries to do. If you watch what our goalie was doing, our goalie, because of the way we want to play, is he sees it, could easily tip it over the bar, but he's focusing on what he's going to do when he catches it.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for our right back. He wants to catch it and set us on a run to score.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he's trying to do, and I wholly encourage that. I give a fuck about the mistake. He's a brilliant young goalie, and I said this season we were going to make some errors. I don't care. We're trying to do it the right way. We weren't, at our sizzling best, but we created it was one of them days where every shot, Kwame's absolutely dominated down the right side. He looked as good as ever. And he must have rinsed their fullback 9 times, gone into the box, and every shot either hit an arse cheek, straight in the goalie's hands, or ballooned over the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen all the, it's just one of them.
One of those usually goes in.
Yeah, Joe Randall, that's some, one's going to go off Joe's arse and he'll score a lot of goals. He could have had a hat trick, everyone. And I don't care. You know what? I know it's a derby. I know all the fans were upset. But watching, if you're asking our fans, do you like what you saw? Mm-hmm. Do you think we tried to take the game to them away from home? Were you happy that we had most of the possession? We were in the final third entries in their box? Absolutely. Or would you prefer we dug in and nicked the game late?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, they're great games to nick. But if that's what you do, no, not for me. But look, fair play to Northampton. Big derby win, or whatever way they call it. At the end of the day, you want to win your derby games. But if you end up getting promoted and you've lost to your local rivals 2 times or whatever else, doesn't matter
at the end of the season, does it?
Some fans will probably kill me for saying that, but
it only matters if you miss out on promotion by 2 points, and then everyone goes back to the game you lost a freak goal to Northampton,
and the other 10 games or whatever else that affects. Yeah, if buts whatever, but no, I love what we're doing. I love it. I watch our 21 games. They lost 3-4 in a game, and again, I love that we had like 25 shots, and I get it. People are frustrated and going on about squad depth and the lack of off the bench, but the game against Barnsley, what came off the bench set up the winner. Mm-hmm. And people came off the bench against Reading and helped us dig out a 1-0 win. So you can keep going on about the bench, but the only way they're going to get better, those players, is we encourage them and we back them and support them and stop talking about replacing them. Like a lot of them played against Bournemouth in an under-21 game during the week, because I think the manager is going to play most who played in the Bournemouth game against Portsmouth in the Cup.
Yeah, because
of the travel all the way down there, he's sending a different team. And somebody made a comment, losing to Bournemouth or whatever, and but you don't know the game. I watched the game. Bournemouth's goalie has made 7 world-class saves. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not always what, don't rush to judgment. We're doing all the right things, and we're not perfect, and we won't be for a long while. But everything we're trying to do is the right thing. I'm convinced is the right thing to do. And it might frustrate our fans hearing that. And why aren't we signing 5 players? And why aren't we doing this? I told everyone in the summer what we were doing. I'm not hiding. I told everyone, it's going to be very surgical how we do things, how we do transfers, how we bring people in. It won't be big batches of player. Someone today, we need 2 experienced players. It's not going to happen. We're going to do exactly what we set out to do. And we're going to fight for everything, and we'll die hard trying if we have to. So it is what it is.
How much do results matter at 21s and 18s and 19s through the age groups?
Now, to Jamal and Semps, who are running all of that, they were in the meeting yesterday, and they were like fucking irritated that the 18s lost, the 21s lost. But we were trying to say to them, love that competitive spirit, but really it's more important how many of the 21s will be in our first team next summer.
Yeah.
How many of the 18s will be in the 21s next summer? That's more important. I get winning's important, and it's a great habit. But actually, we got some really good on the 21s, and they were really good in the game. We lost to Bristol City away at Bristol's ground. We had a man sent off, and we dug it out. It was 3-3, and they scored late. It was 4-3. Bristol have a thriving academy. So we did really well against them, Our 18's the same, and we've got players missing in those teams as well, So it's not always what you think. And whilst people might have been pissed off losing the Derby game, and the players were fucking pissed off, the manager and whatever. But like I said to the manager, come at them. We did all the things the right way. We dominated possession. We had the most chances. We had the most chances on goal. We had the most final third entries. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. 92% of the time you'll win. So, never lose faith of what you're trying to do, because the baby goes out with the bathwater and everyone's panicking and whatever else. We're a young team that's going to lose football games, but we're going to win a lot of football games as well. And sometimes, and I love our fans. 99% of our fans are like fucking absolutely, love what we're doing, really good. And then the usual ones, the ones that they are. I think they've got like one follower who's probably like their fucking, their mate online or whatever else, So, I don't know. What will the title be of our podcast this week be? What do you think? Cues in, out?
I'm not getting myself in trouble with podcast titles here.
Podcast titles, you know what I mean? It's I'm not going to say trust the process. It was my daughter.
It's funny when you were just talking about that. I was thinking I'm going to say trust the process.
My daughter fucking all the time. It was something I said a year ago or 2 years ago. She fucking ribs me all the time. Trust the process. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
We'll have that. It'll every time you lose here on out, then that will be reused online.
Yeah. Like I think it's what should we say? Play the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the right way. I think that's the title has got to be always. So I'm enjoying what I'm watching. I don't know about our fans. And look, Derby are a good team tomorrow. They're going to be up there. They've signed a couple of big hitters yesterday. I'm looking forward to it. And who knows? We're at home. We'd like to do well. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing our young guns go out and try and do their stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good crowd in tomorrow.
We'll have a great crowd tomorrow, I think. I'd like to think we had a bit of a bet the other day in our executive team meeting. We had a poll, put 100 quid in and whatever, and I think I guessed 11-3. Other people were like 11-6, 12-1, that kind of thing. You'd like to get more, but Derby have taken nearly 4,000, so there's a good uptake. So good atmosphere. It'll be my final game before I fly on Sunday night to the UAE. I got a lot of business next week, so and obviously the mad week of transfer fucking deadline and speculation and all that crap that goes on. So it'd be interesting.
You're expecting your deals to go down the wire?
We had a great meeting yesterday where we sat there and we went through every single plan, because obviously I'm going to be away in business. I'll still be controlling and marshalling things, but we went through. If he goes, what are we doing? If he goes last minute and we don't have, so be it. Everyone understood. I've got some great coaches in that room, great manager leading the way. With the 21s in there, Liz is in there, everyone was in there. Barry's given at the end a list of, right, make calls, do this, do that. Let's try and be prepared. Can't promise we will be, but some things happen beyond your control. Players will also try and make a move and push for a move and things like that. I'll be glad when it's over. I would expect us to do some business out. I would expect us to do business in if it's affordable. Because what we're not going to do is make decisions we've done in the past, overspend, overextend, the wrong person. And of course, everyone wants a striker. My manager was actually, he didn't want a striker. He wanted a winger so he could play a winger as a striker. Because there's such a shortage of strikers out there. We have Chimanga. We're hoping he now settles down and gets his head down after speculation recently, which I think affected him, and get on with, earning his way in, because we still think there's a player in there. But I think my manager, I've never seen him as composed and relaxed, because we always know good strikers, and there's probably 2 or 3 out there, and probably unaffordable because clubs know too much money. And if we say lost Clark Harris, he really wants to go get a wide player in, and he wants to turn one into a 9 and develop Chimanga. And he's quite excited about that. And the staff, we were talking about it yesterday, and I've never seen him as relaxed, because usually just like, no, we need a striker, and if this happens, then that happens. So I was like, no, we need a striker. And they were like, no, we can do this. So they're kind of convincing me.
Well, he's got a little track record in doing that, hasn't he? Bringing in, I mean, he wasn't an out striker, but Dembele got the goals.
Schmoddock's not a striker, and kind of like, no, he has, yes. So it'll be interesting, but there's 3 clubs in for Clark Harris, but I've told them, they'll all try Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be take the piss time, bids, and then I'll just get to regardless of what everyone wants to say about us being Brassic, I'll just go, no, fuck off, he'll stay. Yeah, if they're not right. So we know what we think's right, and we'll see. And yes, of course, everyone's asking about Ronnie. We have a game tomorrow, so I don't want to talk about too much speculation around players, because I don't want players distracted the night before a game. I presume we're putting this out later. There's always too much noise around us, and I am trying to also bring that down a bit. I'm trying to allow the training ground, the dressing room, the manager, just try not to give them any issues, any noises. Players know they know if a deal's right for us and them, they'll go. There was a little bit of shtick about Ivan Toney. Did his interview during the week.
Yeah,
he spoke about he had an agreement, a verbal agreement. First of all, on my children, he never had any verbal agreement off me. And what's a verbal agreement? So our agreement with every player is come in and do your thing. We've never stood in anyone's way. Look at our record. And in fairness, I think he owes me one for not selling him to the 2 clubs that were in for him at the time, because I think his pathway. I think
he begrudgingly admitted that, didn't he, in the interview?
I think he did, yes. And I think his pathway has been very good. And I think my advice at the time to him and his dad and the agent was stay a year, win the Golden Boot, score goals, and write your ticket to a bigger and better club. So.
And that's a good segue into that conversation. And also the fact that I think I saw today that he changed his agent.
I knew that already. One of the biggest agents out there. I love dealing with them. They're a great agency. We did British Sambalonga. We've done other deals through them. They're great agents. The main guy there, David Manassi, with obviously the Barnett Junior and Senior. David's brilliant. He's always been good with us. He's got some great players in the stable. He makes me laugh. I'll talk to him. He'll be on his yacht somewhere in the south of France, and he'll always end the call going, is that everything? And I'll be like, yeah. He says, great, because I need to have a wash after dealing with League One. Because he deals with like massive. Yeah. But he means that in a joking way. But he'll always take my call. They're old school, and he'll always try and help me. We have a really good relationship. He helped me with Chelsea goalie last year. Other deals, and that is the best place for Ivan. They don't mess about. Stella's one of the best in the business.
So is that a signal that is looking, and that Brentford might be looking?
I can't speak for anyone. Everyone goes on about sell-ons, and I saw something today that we had a 30% sell-on. We don't. Nobody who spends millions on a player gives you 30%. Most of these clubs offer you a lot less. We have a sell-on, and we have a chunk that goes to Newcastle, but we can't wake up every day hoping for a sell-on. Yeah. I'm hoping for this, hoping for that. I hope he comes back and he scores goals and he's healthy and he's well and he's put the whole thing behind him, and he's in good hands with Stella. They'll get if a move is there, and Brentford. And by the way, Brentford are the best in the business. So if there's something there, I'm sure they'll do a deal and he'll go. So, but how long's a piece of string?
I also saw some rumors of Idris Kanu getting some bids to come back into the NFL, which was really interesting.
Brilliant. Yeah, we have a good chunk there. Our arrangement with Barnett, so really happy for Iddy. He's such a lovely lad. He's doing great at Barnett. Fucking brilliant signing for Bradford. Told you guys to buy him when I was doing
it. We talked about it. Yeah.
Well, I said to you guys I did a deal with Barnett, and I thought he was far too good for non-league again. I thought, because he'd broken his jaw, he was out for a long time. A lot of clubs pulled back.
He had a dodgy loan spell, didn't he, just before he went out?
Yeah, yes, he did. And it was all about the broken jaw. But there's a serious player in there. People forget he's still only 22, 23. I bought him when he was 16. So he, if Bradford fans want someone to get bums on seats and exciting, he's get on to Barnet and do a deal. Good old Peterborough got a nice chunk as well on that. So happy days.
And what does that say? Or is it like, how do you encourage players like Idris to go and drop down into National League and so them not to feel as though that's their EFL career over?
Well, if they're 27 and dropping down, they're not coming back in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 20, 21, 22, and there ain't lots of options there, and we said to Idiot at the time, it's a great club. A lot of people watch Barnet because they've got great talent, as we've shown by signing players. Go there for a year and a half, rebuild, get goals in your games. That's the only thing missing. If you add goals to your game, you're on your way. Efron Mason Clark joined us at 23. You can drop down, you can be back in the league at 23, and you can be on your way. Mm-hmm. So, as a character, he's a great fucking character. I couldn't speak highly enough about the boy. So, no doubt in my mind, we did it with Ricardo Santos. We sold him to Barnet. Yeah. It didn't work out. I think they released him, Bolton picked him up. So, it's not always the end. Now he's one of the best defenders in League One. So, it's not always the end. Sometimes you go, that old saying in life, go backwards to go forwards.
I'm sure you see players that take that step and they don't have the mindset and they're not embracing it, or they refuse to go to that step because there's something, not necessarily there's a snobbery of not wanting to play in the National League. But
I get it. I get it. The facilities, the this, the standard. But look, non-league's now a lot more in fashion.
It's better than half a League Two.
Correct, because of the Wrexham factor, because of the Salford factor. Non-league now is like a fourth division. The top tier in non-league. You've now got Scunthorpe in the league below that. So, you got some big clubs in there. I don't think it has that stigma anymore. I think any player who's not getting game time, you want to go and play. If you're young enough, it doesn't matter if you drop down. Teams like us will always be on the lookout and see you. So trust in your ability. Don't trust the process. Trust in your ability. Go and give it your all and have the right attitude. Don't drop down and have the wrong attitude and be a big-time Charlie. It's a bit like a Premier League player, drop into League Two, drop into League One.
Yeah.
It's all about attitude. How many Premier League youngsters come and get released?
Yeah.
Can't settle. It's exactly the same from the Football League to non-league. So, I'm a massive fan of people, your George Boyds of the world, who started in academies, Jack Taylor, and they ended up dropping down because it was the right thing for their career. Mm-hmm. So they're proper people, and that's why they make it to the top.
Yeah. So let's, we have a couple of talking points, a couple of questions. Extra talking points I wanted to touch on. One was Mason Greenwood. So Man United's handling of the whole
situation. Wanted me. Talksport. I was in Talksport studio. I got this message saying, "Can you come in and do a load of pictures?" And I'm like, "Pictures?" They obviously want me as part of their cast and whatever. So I've now an agent. I've got Simon Jordan's agent came on and signed me up.
Look at you.
Oh yeah. Really funny.
Before I know it, I'll be getting an email with some demand.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy. So he just, he's like, "Listen, you can't be doing this stuff for, let me represent you, and." I've had Sky Sports want me on for 3 hours on deadline day. I said, "Look, I'm in the UAE." And they're like, "Well, we'll still get you on for, a couple of hours and whatever else." So I said, "Well, talk to my agent, So Talksport wants me to do the whole day. So, yeah, so it is interesting. So I went into Talksport and then Joe, one of the producers, messaged me and goes, "Can you come on tomorrow and do Greenwood?" And I'm like, I'm at Peterborough all day. And by the way, I want to stay as far away from that as possible because that's like cancellation material. So again, I don't... And it's not shying away of being spineless. I haven't spent a lot of extensive time reading about it. I've seen the video. I've seen those comments. I don't know about his lawyers. I don't know about did the police release him because the victim didn't want him charged anymore. Was there insufficient evidence? I don't know. Did Man United handle it well or badly? I think it's a very difficult situation for a club because you're worried about the public perception from your fans.
Yeah.
You also have a duty of care to the player who hasn't been found guilty of anything. No matter, and again, if anyone's listening wants to put out headlines and make me seem like an ogre or an asshole, I'll sue your fucking ass, so be very careful. What I'm trying to say there is that we live in a society now where you're guilty before innocent. You do lose your job, you're suspended, what we saw with Mendy and whatever else, and then even if you're found innocent, you could still be vilified. And I don't know if they're all innocent, guilty, or whatever. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know the facts. I'm a dad of 2 daughters. So there's that side of me in my stomach and, whatever else. So United have to be careful because also if they say the wrong thing, the player could sue them.
Yeah.
The player has a legal right to sue them. I mean, let's be honest, his career is fucking over. I mean, I don't know where he goes. I mean, when I say over, it's over in England.
That's kind of my question is because obviously, whatever, and I'm the same. Like, I'm distant from it too, like you are. We're not in the country all the time. We don't see all the news kind of and the speculation about it. He's obviously, Manchester United feel as though they have to continue paying him. So
they have to.
Yeah. So there's nothing that they can dismiss him for.
Mendy will get all his wages back from Man City. And the problem Man City have is they paid 50 million. Where do they go to get, and then people will shout up and go, yeah, but all those women, but a court of law found him innocent.
Yeah.
So there's all of those things that go in there. It's also the fact that if someone accuses you and straight away, it takes 3 years for you to try and I don't know if the system works. I don't know if taking that amount, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I wish I was a lawyer. One of my kids wants to be a lawyer. Maybe they can advise me, but Man United have to pay
him some money.
Yeah. Man United have to pay him. There's no doubt about that. That has to happen. I don't know where he goes. I don't think even Saudi will take him. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to Saudi, but
I wonder if it's even like over here, coming to the States or.
Well, I don't know, because everywhere he goes, there's going to be an uproar. There's going to be, it was a bit like back in the day, Ched Evans. Every time he got a move, even when they'd reversed the decision, there was still an uproar. There were celebrities that were fans of clubs going, we don't want him at our club, and da-da-da-da-da. So I don't know. I guess the question comes down to is, I would not like to be the player's parents. I wouldn't like to be the football club. You can ask me, what would you do in that circumstance? People will go back to Niall Mason was with us, and I'm not comparing Niall Mason to Mason Greenwood, but he had an issue. There was something on his record. I rang around. He'd done his time. And I guess, do you think everyone deserves a second chance,
right,
or take them on merit? And while he was with us, he was exemplary. His behaviour, everything else. And I didn't know enough about what he did on a night out or what happened or whatever else. But I don't know the answer to this question. I guess you probably don't know the answer.
Until you're faced with it.
Until you're faced with it. If it was your son and he did something, what would you do?
I mean,
you're going to defend him as he's your son. You've got 2 sons. What do you do?
I mean, you as a parent, I think your first instinct is always to
protect your children.
Right? Defend, and anything that goes beyond that is in private, not in public.
Yeah, and I guess your argument would be, well, my son was never charged. Charges were dismissed. At the end of the day, he's not got a criminal record. You don't know all the facts. So it's a really, really difficult one to talk about. And I guess it goes back to, do you believe in the rule of law?
Yeah.
Do you believe in the rule of law?
Yeah, I believe in, rehabilitation. I believe in second chances. I believe
that's a different argument.
Yeah, I guess. He wasn't found guilty.
Right.
I'm not going to say he wasn't not guilty, because
if you believe in the rule of law, the law states, if somebody doesn't have a criminal conviction, they weren't convicted or whatever else, they have a right to work, they have a right to do whatever else.
You can have your own moral opinion,
correct,
but in a court of law,
correct. And then the second part you said about rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Do people deserve, or pedophiles and fucking whatever else, do they deserve a second chance, or do they get executed? Again, it's down to your own interpretation. So wouldn't want to be Man United, wouldn't want to be Mason Greenwood, and I wouldn't want to be the young girl's parents who've gone through it all as well as her.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to be any of those people. So if you're asking me where he goes, fuck knows. If you're asking me, are Peterborough going to reach out to him? Not a chance. Not a chance. And that's just me being honest. No fucking way do you want that.
Yeah. The baggage. And that's his problem, isn't it? Right? It's the whole baggage as well.
Of course. So, yeah, really, really tough one. World we live in now. And I guess, it's, I don't know.
Probably to go as far away as you can get from the UK and start there.
Yeah, go find a league in fucking Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not playing in the Premier League again. You're not playing for England again. And your career is done. Now, the NFL have a different way of doing it, and this came up on social media. Even in the NFL, when you've seen players who had charges dropped, dismissed, Roger Goodell has the ultimate power as commissioner to still appeal the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
He is still giving players 6 and 12 match suspensions, even when they were found innocent.
Yeah,
because they brought the game into disrepute.
Yeah,
whatever else, and like Tom Brady, he was never found guilty of Deflategate, but he still got a 4-match ban.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was players accused of assault.
Like a different standard, isn't it? It's not the legal standard, but it's
right. So should we in football have that enforced? You know, we're okay, you were found, whatever else, but we feel, you know, sorry, this is what's going to happen. You know, so I don't know, you know, crikey. Anyway, next question.
Next talking point was about Lionel Messi and his coming to Inter Miami has now won one trophy, I think maybe a second one this week. Is it going so well for him that it's actually showing how poor the league is? Like, do you think that the MLS would wish that he wasn't having so much success?
No. Look, I think I'm a firm believer with the World Cup and the Olympics around the corner, and now the Messi effect and the Apple effect. I think those 4 key components are going to make soccer, as I like to call it, where we live, massive over the next 10 years. Massive. I think Apple were genius paying $2.5 billion for 10 years. Now look at Messi bringing in; they're already breaking even and making money because of all the Messi subs. I think the league will get better. I think the USL are going to eventually do the pyramid, not the MLS, the USL. I think the fanfare over that is going to lead to the MLS looking over their shoulder and going, we need some of that action. I actually see a lot of good things happen. Into Miami, it's not just Messi. They signed 3 or 4 very good players at once. So I don't think without them, they'd have won the trophy and had the run they've had. It brings eyes on. I think more players from England, a bit like Saudi, will want to go there. No, I think it's an exciting time. I really do. And I think fair play to Messi. He could have taken a lot more money to go to Saudi. He thought of his kids. He's already got enough money. He thought of his children. He thought of his wife. And it's a lot closer to home in Argentina. So, no, I'm watching highlights of stuff that I don't usually do for the MLS because of it. So, yeah, full steam ahead.
It's hard to tell whether it's his quality or the poor quality that is up against.
Quality's poor, there's no doubt. We can all agree that it's not Premier League quality. It's not even top 12 championship quality, but it will be. It will be. So that's what comes next. It will be. The more money, the more TV deals, the more fanfare, whatever else, and the wages they can pay. They don't have to, they can only afford at the moment to sign 1 or 2 superstar players, and sponsors help and the MLS help with that. These clubs will have enough money to go and pay the best championship, lower Premier League players to go there. It's going to happen.
I definitely think it's transformational for the MLS. I think that the MLS probably doesn't want him to run away with everything and end competition. I think
they'd be happy for that for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in come everyone else charging it. So, no, I think there's no negatives for me. I think it's positive for everyone.
All right, so a couple of questions. We have a question from Daniel Allen, who's a Posh fan. He says, I have a question for Dara concerning the ground. I'd like to know if Posh have considered redeveloping the current ground, as plans, I think, are maybe on hold or been put back for the new stadium.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm working on deals left, right, and centre, and one of them is to get the stadium company out of receivership.
Yeah.
There's not a lot I can do about the ground or whatever else. So I'd rather, instead of bullshit and whatever else, and say, I can't answer that question today. But I'll be afraid to ask again in a few months' time.
Yeah. Question from Josh. Josh is a Sheffield United fan. He asked a question a few weeks ago about Iliman Ndiaye and his transfer to Marseille. Don't know if I pronounced that anywhere near what it should have been. That he was close to signing an extension at Sheffield United and changed his mind at the last minute. I want to kind of paraphrase what Josh was asking, but more in the broader context than just Sheffield United. Does a player hold all the cards if he's looking to get out when he only has 1 year left on his contract?
At times, yes. It can test your mettle as an owner or as a club or whatever else, where unless you have fuck you money. If I have fuck you money and I'm worth billions and a player wants out and an agent wants out and I'm getting offered derisory money, I can go, fuck you, sit in the stands.
Yeah.
Don't make any difference to me. If you haven't got fuck you money, then they know, and then they put the pressure on. And then they're checking the size of your minerals. There are times when my minerals are like they're like watermelons. And then there are times, like every human being, where my minerals can be maybe like Maltesers, where it's checking the temperature at the time when I need to do a deal.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But players have a certain amount of power. They can sit out games. They can refuse to play. They can pull all that crap. And that goes on all the way up in transfer week. Yeah. I love that player at Sheffield United. But Sheffield United are doing right for them. Their owner, I think, isn't funding. He wants to sell. So they have to operate, and they're lucky they're in the Premier League. So with a year left, you take the money when you're in that position.
Yeah. And Josh asks as a follow-up, what are your thoughts on Sheffield United's survival chances this year?
Like the coach. I like the fact they're signing, I think, Archer from Aston Villa. Fucking loved him. I tried to sign him 2 years ago when we'd looked at him in 21 football and stuff. I actually don't think they're going to be as bad as people are saying, because I actually think their coach is very good.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be very resilient with everything going on around them. And they showed that at the end of last year. I could be wrong, but I think they'll take it late to the season. Do I think they'll go down? Potentially, but they won't be down by February like some people think.
And then last question is from Peter. Peter's in Australia, a Posh fan, optimistic for another season ahead. Essentially, the question is, he has no doubts that you're going to get Posh back up into the Championship, whether that's this year, whether it's a couple of years to do that. What would be different next time? How would you plan? Not necessarily what would be different, but how would you plan differently or take different decisions?
Loads. And I don't want to go into it now because I don't want to talk about something that's not here yet. Hopefully it will be soon, but loads. I've made a few mistakes there and I've repeated them twice. And that's one of my key rules in life. Never make the same mistake twice. And I fucking did it. So loads. Now, it's a tough league for a club our size, but I think it can be done. And tell Peter, we have to start scouting outside of England now. There's not enough strikers out there. We like to have our continuation strikers. Everyone seems to be jumping on the Australian bandwagon. Seem to be the work visas are easy enough. Can't let all these Scottish clubs be nicking talent out there. He's now my official scout.
Feed you some names.
I want reports and names. I get my gem scout in an airplane. He loves a lot. He loves a bit of long travel. That boy that works for me. I'll put him on a 20-hour flight. He can go out there and have a couple of weeks in Australia watching games. So absolutely, we need every bit of help we can get. Come on.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up there for today. We'll get this posted within probably a couple of hours or so, and in advance of the games tomorrow. Good luck.
Stick to us, guys. Don't be upset when we're not recording. Just we have our own lives. I have a lot going on. You've shitloads going on, building a nice little empire there in the procurement industry. So next week, obviously, I'm in the UAE. You're at home. We're going to try and do a show. There's a lot going on, moving parts with the window. So fans, again, we don't like to be inconsistent with our release, but so far we're every week.
And I think it's interesting. We got a lot of good feedback on doing the recording on Wednesday after 2 games during the week as well. So we're just experimenting a bit as well in amongst all that scheduling.
Yeah, and we might do that again this Wednesday, God willing, time-wise and whatever else. So other than that, everyone have a great weekend, and let's see what we can do to business.
All right. Talk to you all soon. Take care.